Welcome to Start Lines and Swag Bags. The airing of this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to replace advice from professional medical or training staff. Thank you for listening and your support of the Flying Pig Project.
Hello and welcome to this Tuesday's guest episode on Start Lines and Swag Bags. Here's a fun fact. I say fun fact a lot, but seriously, if you're seeing me right now with this shirt on and you happen to be at the Fast Track holiday party, question, do you think I, A, came home and made this video after the party, B, went to Korean karaoke with Dan and Justin and Andrew and Jackie and Nicole and Andrew and Adriana, and then came home and shot this at 1:30 in the morning? Or C, did I just opt to put this shirt on because it was really the only thing laying around when I got home from work? I'll let you wonder. Anyway, so I just at some point got done, because that would give the answer away, listening to and all the things with Ksenia's episode. And Ksenia was such a joy to interview. When you listen, one of the first things you're going to hear is about how long it took me and somebody who works in tech to get everything going. And Ksenia made a very poignant remark about that fact. She has such an interesting story about her childhood and even her teen years when she was still living in Russia before she came to the U.S. And it's really interesting learning how her journey evolved. And at the end of the day, what joining the community of Fast Track means to her. I cannot wait to have her on the show again. I guarantee it's going to happen at some point. But for now, please enjoy my interview with Ksenia. All right. Happy Tuesday. It's not Tuesday. All right. So please welcome my friend Ksenia to the show. Hello, Ksenia.
Hi, Rachel. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Just came back from the gym, put a couple hours in there. Now, it's a day off. I can't complain. It's the best way to start the day.
I'm sorry. Did you say a couple of hours?
Yeah. Half hour warm up, an hour lifting, half hour cool down.
Wow. Yeah, that's much more than I did today. I got up. Okay, so you
Night is young.
You get to start by telling us who you are and anything you would like to share about yourself.
Okay. I am Ksenia McAllister. I live in Schaumburg. I like to run, but I also like doing other things, fitness-wise. As far as what I do for a living, I work in tech. I'm kind of a tech nerd. I'm a gamer. So as much as I can, I would love to play with tech toys and new technology. So I'm a manager of the team responsible for Lenovo sales in my company. And I have a son and I'm a mom.
And I love that. And to your point, audience, she said it. She's in tech. Ksenia, how long did it take us to get going today?
27 minutes.
27 minutes. There you go. Because that's a new record. All right. Before I hop into my first question.
Wait, hold on. Did you say we just PR'd the pre-show routine? Right?
This one's going to be fun. That nice tie-in. All right. Before I start you straight off with swag, tell us a little bit about your running journey.
All right. It's an interesting one, I feel like. I always tell people who ask me in the club how long I've been running, and I usually say since COVID. But, when I was prepping for recording with you, I kind of thought about where running has fit in my life. And it's been a long time since I've ran, actually, now that I think about it. So starting at 6 years old, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, which is a curve in the spine. And my parents were given two options. They could either put me to physical therapy or rhythmic gymnastics. Again, don't ask me. I don't know. That's what they were told. So my mom, loving rhythmic gymnastics, she put me in gymnastics. Except it was an Olympic reserve gymnastics school, so they were not there to just help me with my scoliosis. They wanted to train the crap out of me. So, I didn't like it there. I was really good at flexibility exercises. I wasn't as performative as they wanted me to be. I would get kind of a cramp in my foot when I would point the toe, and it was like, you can't do gymnastics without pointing your toes. They wouldn't let us actually hydrate at all during hours of training. So I feel like I was not set up for success there. In Soviet Russia, you don't hydrate, I guess. I can't make up a joke right now. But being in gymnastics, it was pretty toxic because they knew I wasn't there to go into Olympics. I was there to just, do a good job about with my health and fix the scoliosis and whatnot. But there was some bullying from, the teachers and the students. It was just like a bad situation for me. And, when a kid is not enjoying themselves doing something, that just kind of kills the desire to do the thing. So I really hated sports. I did not like anything to do with sports. Sports activity was not something that gave me the good feels. So at about 13, I quit. And as you know, after you quit very intense training, your body gains weight. And that happened in a great time of my formative puberty years of 13. So, as you know, it's just a perfect storm of bad all around. So, I was thinking, okay, I need to figure out a way to lose weight. I'd like to get back in shape. All the fat shaming is not good in the 90s Russia as it was in America. So it was a bad situation. I needed to lose weight. And my parents had this amazing advice of, why don't you start running first thing in the morning on an empty stomach? It's cheap. You'll burn a lot of calories. All you have to do is put shoes on. So I started doing that, and, usually it would be 10, 15 minutes, about a mile around my block. And something I know now is there is a bathroom routine that needs to happen before you run. Otherwise, it's bad news. So I was getting bad stomach cramps. I didn't know why at the time, but I still kept doing it and, eventually lost a little bit of weight. But, I would say nobody really told me that that was a bad idea back then. So kind of foreshadowing for bad advice, maybe. Eventually, I started going to the gym and running outside and on the treadmill, like when I was at work or in college. And I started participating in company 5Ks. And Chase Corporate Challenge was the yearly race that I did with my company. And my biggest goal for the race was not to walk, just run the whole thing. That was hard for me back then. Pretty cool kind of reflecting on that right now. So then COVID happened. There wasn't much else to do. I had a toddler at home, so really needed to get out of the house at least once a day. So started running around the neighborhood. That's just, I guess it's just something that was something my brain knew to do, right? From the younger years. So I started running with about 2-mile runs around the neighborhood. Then my running route started growing and growing. I got into Strava because of a fitness club at work. And as a gaming nerd, I love looking at my stats and how this run compares to the last run and how much faster I am by seconds. And oh my God, it's just so granular. It's really fun to look at your own stats. So I ran every day. I leveled up my stamina. And by the end of 2020, I was running double digits. So then in 2021, I needed new shoes. And I came across this wonderful store of extra mile running where Chris sold me, I forget what they're called, it's a number name, 360s. 360 something, yes. And I learned that I was my entire life running in a shoe one size too small for my foot. So again, just until Chris sold me my first running shoe, I was running in too small of a shoe. And I feel like the rest is history. Many, many shoes later, we're running lots of different races here, placing on the podium, age groups. So I'd say it's been a great journey so far.
I mean, I can't argue with you, of the evolution. I mean, you literally have gone from the basic start. And it's interesting because, we talk about like not knowing certain routines. But a lot of that stuff, we all have to learn the hard way, because as much as anybody can give you advice as to prevent those issues, some people have them, some people don't, and you all have to figure out how to get through it.
Yes. There wasn't great running advice in a South Russian town of Stavropol, and there was no internet. Or when there was internet, I would rather be reading Harry Potter fan fiction than running advice. So, yeah, I'd say Run Club has been awesome with advice. I know what to do now. There's no more running on empty stomach. And there's no more cramps because of a well-established bathroom routine in the morning.
Now that's a soundbite for sure. How old were you when you came to this country?
I was 17 years old. Yeah.
Did your whole family come?
No, so my parents were here in the beginning, and my grandma, she raised us because my parents moved when I was about 7 or 10. And then my sister and I moved, and then eventually we moved our grandma 5 years ago. So it took a few steps to get there. It's not easy. Immigration's not easy. It's very expensive, but you just gotta play by the rules.
But you're all here now.
We are. Yes,
nice.
We made it. We made the American dream, I suppose.
All right, yes, you did. Absolutely. The American dream, as however we all look at it now. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about swag.
Let's do it.
Swag can be, here's my new working definition of swag. Mm-hmm. Anything that if you had not signed up for and paid for the race, you would not have.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be, a t-shirt, a medal, a chapstick. It could be so many different things.
Yeah.
What's your best swag?
I'm going to preface this real quick. So working in tech, I feel like I'm come from a very spoiled place when it comes to swag, because my literal team, we buy tens of thousands of dollars of swag for events, and I wreck my brain every year on what will people like. Is it hat? Is it gloves? Is it umbrella? Is it beach mat? Is it chapstick? Is it sanitizer? Is it phone charger? Girl, I receive and I give a lot of swag when it comes to work. So I feel like I'm spoiled and privileged when it comes to that. So I'm picky about my swag. Chopstick ain't gonna do it. You know what I mean? So I will say my favorite piece of swag and how I decide that is by how much I use it. Like, that was useful. I received an age group award from Fort to Base Race 2 years ago. And the item they gave us was this backpack that you can fold into this really small square that you can take anywhere with yourself. So it's kind of like fabric-made backpack. And something that actually Mike Balian, he taught me is to use it instead of gear check bag. So I would put all of my gear stuff into that backpack, and then I would just put that backpack inside of the baggie, because I am flimsy and not gentle, and my gear check bags always rip. They constantly just get destroyed. So that backpack has been a life changer over the last year and a half when it comes to gear checking my stuff.
That's a new one. I mean, first of all,
I show it to you.
Well, of course.
Here's the backpack.
Oh my goodness!
Pretty awesome, right? Fort to Base.
It's got their logo on it.
Yep. And when you fold it completely, it becomes the size of this pocket.
Wow.
So
I have, you know what? I've never seen that. I mean, I know a lot of people who have done Forte Base, and even I've done Forte Base. I've never seen anybody that had like a backpack.
they haven't
That's
done
cool.
that since then. That's the thing. Like I've run that race 4 or 5 times now. It's the only time they did it.
Isn't that a great race?
That was right there up top when I was picking my favorites. I do love that race. It's just a little damn far of a drive.
So first of all, I love this because Forte Base is not on my bracket. It didn't make the top cut.
Wow.
Well, listen, I've done a lot of races. And do you know why that race didn't make the top cut? Because it was not only too damn far, but I got directions. I don't know who they were. I think they were from Sarah Peterson. I got directions. But the thing is that I don't like driving at night. I'm just going to say that. And we had to be there at like 4:45 in the morning or something. Mm-hmm. So I'm driving, but real close to where you park, it's pitch black. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I got there was because I started following another car, and it happened to be Sarah. That like it was very random, but and I did it in 2021. So like we were still wearing masks on the bus and all that. So it was a very different experience than I know if I'd go do it now. Mm-hmm. But that race, I love that race. I would do that race again and again and again.
Yeah, you have to be there early because of the bus. I feel like if we didn't have to take a bus, maybe it would be a little more, what's the word?
Accessible?
Yeah. It's really early, really far away. But, I mean, it's pretty cool with the way they put it on.
Well, yeah, and I have to admit, they probably don't want everybody coming onto the naval base.
Yeah, that's a no.
Well, that's a hard pass. We'll give them that. All right. Do you have a worst swag?
All right. Are you ready for a hot take?
Yes.
People who know me know this about me, but my hot take is Chicago Marathon shirts and merch are ugly. They are so ugly. I can't with the green. I can't. I don't love it at all. But I know I'm a minority in this, and it's a hot take, but I'm putting it out there. Come at me.
What? Okay, so you're talking this year's shirt?
I would say the last 2 years, the shirts I've seen, that's a no for me, dog. I'm not getting one of those.
So more than a couple people actually did list the Chicago Marathon's shirt, as were swag, because I think it was 2 years ago. They put a seam right in the middle of it that was very misplaced.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky in that the Chicago Marathon is big enough that they're not coming after me. It's fine. But please, fix your clothes. You are not the first person.
Fire your designer. Hire Nicole. She'll design a better shirt any day in her sleep than what we've seen at Chicago Expo this year. The purple and green combo, I just think of the Joker and I can't think of anything else. And I don't like it.
I think it was Chris who I said, when did Chicago get known for like aqua blue?
Yeah, that's a good question. Do you have an answer?
No, and because when was Chicago ever known for purple?
You would know better than me.
No. I will tell you, I've lived here my whole life, and the answer is no.
What were the colors that they had as a classic combo?
Well, the interesting thing is, in trying to remember, really it's blue and red for the Chicago flag. I mean, and that's
I wish that's what they did. That's what they should be doing. Our flag is awesome. It looks great. Why not use that?
I like the design. I don't remember what had it, but like the skyline. Mm-hmm. I thought that was very nice, but not on a purple shirt for Chicago.
Yeah. So I'm glad it's not just me.
No?
I feel better about it now. Thank you.
It's not just you. All right. So we moved from swag to advice. So, and this could be, because again, I give that little disclaimer in the beginning. Don't do anything or, make decisions based on what we say. But what's the worst and or best advice that you were ever given?
Run on empty stomach has to be the worst advice I've ever received. I will say don't do that. Unless your stomach is somehow magical and you don't cramp up in the morning and you don't have to do the routine. The best advice, the best advice for me, and I'm coming from, as I started running longer and longer, your body is like, what are you doing? This doesn't feel right. My right hip would be sore. And I learned that because of scoliosis, because that's the hip that is the higher than the other one for me because of my curved back. So I learned that I need to do special stretches for that. And once I started getting in a really good before and after run stretch routine, I have not had any issues whatsoever with my hips, with nothing. So I'd say the best advice I would give anyone is really focus on stretches before and after your runs.
And listen to your body. If something is bothering you, it isn't magically going to disappear.
100%. Yes.
It's there for a reason.
You gotta listen to your body. I love that advice too. I would say that's probably number 2 favorite advice for me.
I'm going to tell you a secret. Guess who runs on an empty stomach?
You?
I do. Well, I will preface it. I will preface it. Not probably 80% of any race I've ever done has always been on an empty stomach, because for 5Ks, 10Ks, and 5Ks and 10Ks up to that distance, I can't eat first thing in the morning and then go do a race. If it's somewhere that I have to drive and there's like a good 2 hours before the race, then I do eat a little something. But if I'm like doing something local or I start within an hour of waking up, nope.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I hear you. Sometimes like 4 to base is so damn early that you're like, I'm not hungry at 4:30 in the morning, but I just kind of power through it. I make myself eat the damn bagel and just do the thing, because I will run out of energy if I don't do that.
See, and that's one of those, everybody's a little different. I try to eat in the morning. It doesn't matter if it's just like a little piece of, bread and peanut butter, but my stomach's just like, no.
Yeah.
No, you don't need to do that.
Do you hydrate a lot though?
We're not going to talk about my wonderful running habits, because again, this is a show where you should not listen to the host's advice. This is, you need to do what's best for you and not listen to anybody else.
All right. We'll take it offline.
Yanks. All right. So this one keeps getting changed, this question, I'll admit. It's favorite race distance. And if you answer it a certain way, I'm going to change it. I'm just letting you know.
All right. I was thinking a lot about that one, actually. I hate 5Ks because going top effort for 25 minutes or whatever is just hard. It's mentally hard. It's physically hard. I do better on longer distance runs. I tend to place better because I can just last longer. So I would say I was choosing between a 10K and a half marathon, and I can't say that half would be my favorite because it gets hard at the end. And 10K is, going top effort for 45 minutes. That's also a lot. So I'm landed on 4 to base 10 miles, which is actually 11.4 miles in total. So I don't have to push so hard that it's mentally and physically challenging at the top of my effort that I would do a 10K or a 5K when it's the 10 miler. But also it's not a half marathon where it's just that last 3 miles are so mentally challenging.
So, okay, part of me knew that I was going to get the nautical mile answer. I knew it. But I was like, okay, I'm also dealing with a gamer. And look, I have thrown a 60-sided dice. I get it. I understand what we're talking about. So when you started going 10K, half, and then you came in at like that weird nautical mile, I was like, yes, I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But I kind of agree. And other people have commented that they wish like there were more 15Ks.
Yep.
And that literally came up 3 days ago when I was recording another episode, because the only one we could think of was the hot chocolate 15K.
I've never done that one. When is it?
It just was.
Okay, so
It was.
recently.
It was. I think it was in October/November, because it coincided with another day that had a lot of races on it. It was one of those busy weekends in the last part of October, first part of November. But it's the only technical like 15K. I'm sure there may be another one, but I don't know of any. But interestingly enough, when I was having that conversation, I did not think of the Forte Base 11 nautical mile, which is 10
It's a lot of fun.
something. No, when I did it, I did the 3 nautical mile, which was 3.5 miles or
3.5.
yeah. Some it's just like something that's a little more than a 5K, a little less than something else. And I think that is kind of a sweet spot. And you did answer the question. I was going to say, which one do you hate the most? And you answered that.
5Ks, man. I ran a lot of 5Ks, and then I discovered 10K and a half marathon, and now I never want to do 5Ks again. It's just a lot of high effort in a long time. Mentally, I hit a wall at the halfway point always. I'm like, most people be like, yay, I'm halfway done. I'm like, I'm only halfway and I'm dying. How am I going to do the other halfway of this race? So that's where I'm at.
Well, the nice thing about 5Ks, especially when we talk about, say, like our team races and all that, 5Ks and the 4 on the 4th, those are races that are short enough that even the fastest of the fast and the slowest of the slow still come together in a timely manner to help celebrate each other.
Yes, I agree. The camaraderie is much more exciting.
And it's much more accessible. When you're talking about a half marathon, you could be talking about a much different time difference between the first and the last. And I like how 5Ks and the 4 on the 4th really, and the Shamrock, are distances that help us facilitate celebrating together a little bit more.
Yeah.
I guess
100% agreed. Yep.
Okay. So now, not anybody famous, because that's a whole different question.
But we didn't talk about how I know you.
Oh, that's...
Do you want to ask me?
Of course. Well, yeah. I've skipped over that one the last couple of times, and not on purpose. How do you know me?
I know you in real life, and we first met. I was digging through my memory bank. I think it was Friday Night Flights, Christmas 2021. Before I saw you at the store, we then went to Hideout Karaoke. And here's my story. Here's my memory of you. I was drunk, and I get touchy when I drink. And I started touching your beautiful curly hair. And I know it's a big no-no. And then I started apologizing to you because I'm like, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have touched your hair. I feel so bad. I felt really, really bad. And then you're like, what are you talking about? It's not a big deal. I'm like, oh, okay, she's not mad at me. Yay. So that's my memory, my first memory of you, Rachel.
Okay, first of all, I'm dying because here's the thing. So embarrassingly enough, I admit I do not have a good memory. And sometimes I remember first interactions or like when, the bonding happened, and sometimes I don't. And I thought about it with you, and I was like, I feel like it involved a bar. Mm-hmm. But I couldn't, because if I'm not mistaken, I also was a tad bit wasted and also drove to the hideaway or whatever it was, as we all did, which we shouldn't have done. But I do distinctly remember you coming up behind me and you're like, ooh, it's
Curly hair. Touch. I want it. I want to touch it. What does it feel like?
oh my God, Ksenia, God, I love doing this podcast. See that, but that's the reasons I love doing it, because, I've had a lot of people remember their first interaction with me, and even I'm just like, you remember that? And so I appreciate that you remember that.
Well,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I felt really bad next morning, and I needed to apologize to you as soon as I could possibly do that. So I couldn't forget that.
So I'm gonna tell you the truth. Dude, don't touch my hair.
No, I know. I have self-awareness, and I'm going to do better now about that.
Not that I have any left for you to touch, but that's brilliant. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. And thank you for not being mad at me.
No, I could. What? How? Never.
Look, I'm a millennial. I feel like everyone's mad at me all the time, every day. So I just need to apologize just in case.
No, you as Ashley would say to us, don't apologize. Say thank you for understanding.
God, she's so good. You're right.
I know.
Ashley,
I know.
bless.
Everybody's she's the cheerbrarian on Instagram, and everybody should go listen to her. I'm going to tag her. I haven't tagged her in a while. I'm going to tag her for this one. All right. Somebody famous besides me,
I mean, goals met already. I'm okay. I don't have a good answer for that because I don't know any famous athletes. I don't follow that. I really don't care, to be honest. So I'm going to say Chapel Roan because apparently she was a cross-country runner one day. So I consider that a famous runner. It was on the news. It's legit.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm gonna do a shout out to somebody, to actually a couple people in our group. Famous is so subjective. Okay, now I'm not gonna say her name because she's extremely humble, and I hope to have her on the podcast very soon. But you and I happen to be on the team with the world record holder at a world major in her age group.
Yes.
And she's held that for the past 2 world majors. And for me, that's as famous as I need to go.
Yeah.
We have runners who are, for the rest of their lives, automatically qualified for Boston. And they're the nicest people that I ever want to enter into conversations with. So famous is very subjective.
Yeah, I feel like being in fast track is just all downhill from here. Nobody else matters. We met the best ones. Shout out.
Anyway, so, all right. The question of all questions. Now, in my brain, I think I know what you're going to say. Favorite race of all time?
My favorite race of all time is not Fort to Base.
What is that?
I'm going to say Frozen Tundra. And here's why. It's close.
Wow.
The beer is good. The post-race party is fire. It's a challenging 5K. I know you probably are thinking, but Ksenia, you said you don't like 5Ks. It's not I don't feel like it's a real 5K because you run in snow.
Yeah.
And it's much more challenging and it's fun. And people run out of steam on the way back. And I pass them because I don't know. It makes me feel good about myself. And their medals are awesome. I really like their medals. And you get to hang out in a brewery for a while. I just have good memories with that race. I've done it a few times. We always had a great time. I got a free drink once from a random person because I was dancing so good on the dance floor. And then I shared the drink with all my girls, of course. But I'm like, there's just no bad memories about Frozen Tundra. So I'm saying Frozen Tundra.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you guess which one I thought you were going to say?
Viking dish? No.
No. What did you just do last month?
Oh, marathon? A marathon, right?
Yeah. Your first marathon.
But it's not my favorite race because it was, I don't know, it was cool, but I don't want to do it every year. I'm thinking a favorite race is something I want to never miss every year.
There you go.
And I'm not doing the marathon every year. Look, bless those of you who are, and it's amazing, and I'm eternally impressed by you all, but I just don't want to train again in the Chicago heat and run those long runs again this summer. So, yeah, I told you before we started, like, I like doing different things. I want to do a triathlon. I want to hit the gym. I want to rock climb. I want to swim. I don't want to do a marathon every year because then it's just all running all the time.
That's true. And, to the point, when I ask for favorite, people give me favorites for a lot of different reasons. Mm-hmm. In working on my own bracket and trying to nail down my favorite, which is a nightmare, I'm realizing each one is my favorite for completely different reasons. And how in the end do I possibly crown one as the champ? I have no idea.
I don't know why you do this to yourself. That's too hard.
Know. Well, because I feel like if I ask you all, and some of you have more notice than others, but anybody who listens knows the last question is favorite race. But if I'm making you all answer that question, I should be able to answer it. I don't know. Nope. Everybody's got to wait and see what, which one ends up as my favorite.
I can't wait.
I can, because I don't want to make the decision.
I have a word to say about the race you described, and I've seen teammates do that race, but it's that indoor marathon.
Oh, the Pettit, yeah.
I mean, talk about mental struggle running a marathon indoors. That's another no for me, dog, but very impressed by those who can withstand that mental struggle there.
Well, hold on. Let's remember, I didn't do the marathon. I did the marathon.
Ran indoors.
I did the relay. You would love the relay. The relay was a lot of fun. But yes, to do an actual, knowing how many laps we had, I think it was 94 laps. And to be able to have the mental toughness to go around that track 94 times is amazing.
Yeah.
And anything that one is
more than 10 laps, I'm out. That's I'd say the top for me for indoors.
It was tough because they weren't even like true 400s. They were like 530s. So it was like some weird distance, which if you train at a track like we do, kind of messes you up a little bit. Because you're like, oh my God, I don't want to do this again. But it's only 400. Ha! No, it's not. It's 530, sucker.
Yeah. Outdoor track, look, totally different story. No problem running on the outdoor track for hours. It's just when you're indoors, it's a little rough, I would say. I haven't tried it, but I imagine it's hard. I think you should try it. I think everybody should try it. I'm not going to commit. I will say I will consider it.
Yeah, that's been my term lately as well. I'll consider it. All right. Before we sign off, is there anything else you would like to add? This is your time.
I'm going to say shout out and thank you to the teammates. I strongly believe I would not realize, and I don't think I still realize my full running potential, but in no world I would ever thought I would get any kind of age group awards, none like that. So I'd say the team really motivated me and pushed me to do better. And, just seeing the results from that in the forms of medals and swags, like they're on my wall. They're mine. I earned them. Nobody can take them away. Like there's zero chance I'd ever do any of that if it wasn't for Chris and the running club and FNF and the whole crew. So big shout out.
I love that. And I agree. Being a part of all of that, knowing Chris since 2018, I have to absolutely agree. Ksenia, thank you so much for being on my show. If I want you back in the future, will you come back on?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
All right. So all of you out there, as we say at the Flying Pig Project, unlock the crazy to open a world of possibilities. And we'll talk to you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Where are my balloons? There are the balloons.
It's like a birthday party. I love it.